Well, they saved the old guy for the last guy, so. And since it's late on a Saturday afternoon, or almost Saturday evening, I'm not going to make you read anything. I don't have any PowerPoint slides. I have nothing but me. Like I said, like Alex said, I spent 26 years in China. The last 20 years running a company in China, or running two companies in China. And my topic today is Chinese technology. Well, that's like talking about how long is a piece of string, and I have half an hour to do it in. What I'll try to do is talk a little bit about what I've seen over the past 25 years, where they're going, and maybe change a little perceptions of China. You know, there's a problem in the Western media that China's this backward country where it's all old technology, it's all, they're living in the last century. I think that's a very false misrepresentation. The Economist had an article recently by Larry Summers, who's a professor at Harvard, and he said that the Americans have taken 30 years to double the standard of living. They've been able to double it every 30 years for its citizens. The Chinese have doubled the standard of living every 10 years for the past 30 years. So it's a little different than when I first went. Somebody asked me last night, what was your first impression of China? And my answer was bicycles. And the reason I said bicycles, because I was in Shanghai in 1988 on a busy corner, and there were thousands of bicycles, and everybody was going every which way, and I couldn't figure out the protocol of how they weren't running into each other. So that's my initial vision of China, bicycles. China's going to be, as we heard today, and as everything you've read, going to be the world's biggest economy. No matter what you think or how your professional lives will evolve, China will play a factor. Whether you're going to manufacture in China, whether you're going to sell in China, whether you're going to compete with Chinese companies, or whether you're just going to go to the mall and buy stuff. China will have an effect on you. And I guess one of the things, if you look at how China has evolved, when Deng Xiaoping said it's glorious to get rich, and started opening up China technology started by basically overseas Chinese who decided to go into China because they were looking for a large, low-cost labor force. And this suited everybody. For the Chinese, it gave jobs, it brought in foreign cash, and the economy started rolling. The smart thing that the Chinese government did at that time was they started to develop infrastructure. They built railroads, they built energy plants, they built all the seaports. They built all the infrastructure that you needed to make industry grow. And basically what they did is they copied the Americans. After the Second World War, America had to substitute the war with work. And to develop their businesses, they invested heavily in infrastructure. They invested in infrastructure, and that's basically how the American economy developed. And the Chinese just followed that same blueprint. And what they have today is they have the world's most modern infrastructure, and we are faced with 70-year-old infrastructure that is crumbling. All you have to do is drive down the 20 or on any street here, and you see the difference. So that's a big cost advantage that helps them technically. The other thing they did is they went out and they said, we got to get technology to improve the technology of our country. And one of the easiest ways to get good technology is to take your brightest students and send them to the best universities in the world. And so they sent them to Europe, they sent them to Canada, they sent them to the United States, and gave them incentives to go back, to lead them into the future, and to be technically competent. You know, one time I had, in the mid-'80s, I had my own company for a while, and I had a guy on a year sabbatical from China. And he was Dean of Engineering of the South China Institute of Technology, which is a joint school with MIT. He worked for me during the week, and every weekend he was going down to Boston, Rochester, New York, checking on his PhD students. All of them went back into industry in China. The other thing the Chinese did is they figured out, gee, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. If we can buy technology, if we can form joint ventures, we can pick up technology much more easily than just reinventing what everybody else is doing. And to give you an example of that, when I was back in the 90s, they approached the company I was with at the time and said, we'd like to buy your old technology. Don't sell us what's new, sell us what you've just stopped using. Because what we'll do it, we'll license a local Chinese company, and they'll develop it on their own. And we ended up doing that. And what happened out of it, first of all, we got a cash injection for selling the technology. We got a 10-year royalty payment. So we had a cash flow that otherwise would not have been around. And the Chinese licensee ended up doing very well, developing technology at its level, at its price point, which is much different than anything we do. So that was, and that happened in many different industries. When I signed the contract for the technology, it was signed in the Great Hall of the People in Beijing, and there was over 100 companies from different areas signing the same type of technology agreements. So that was another thing that they did that I think worked very well. And to give you an example, if they further developed that, and I got Bombardier here, so I'm not the guy to talk about high-speed railways, but I will. What they did today, China has 10,000 kilometers of high-speed rail. And they're going to be at 18,000 kilometers by the year 2020. All of Europe has 7,000 kilometers of installed rail. Now, modern North America has none. The Americans are actually building a line between Anaheim, which is just outside of LA, and San Francisco, which is 650 kilometers, and they'll have that done by the year 2028. They're also talking about a line between New York City and Washington, D.C., which is 350 kilometers, and they're talking about that to be ready in the year 2040. In Canada, of course, we've been talking about a line between Quebec City and Windsor, following the corridor through Montreal and Toronto. And we've been talking about that for about 35 years. And now I don't think we're even talking, but I might be wrong. So the reality is that the Chinese do, the Americans talk about it, and we stick our head in the permafrost. And speaking of permafrost, the Chinese are also the first country in the world to build a rail line on permafrost between Beijing and Tibet. So today what they're doing is they've gone out, they've bought high-speed rail from Bombardier, from Kawasaki, from Siemens, from Alstom. They've taken that technology, they've evolved it, where today they're working on high-speed trains going at 350 kilometers an hour, and have gone out and are selling it around the world, and are one of the leaders in that industry. And that's from a standing start of 20 years. If you look at another area, certainly aerospace. You know, China is only one of three countries in the world that's ever landed a lunar module. They're the only ones that have a lunar module working today on the moon. And they plan to put an astronaut in space by 2025. So that's an area also where they've started from nothing and today are a major player in a very high-tech field. The last example I'm going to use is a very simple example. A lot of you are from China. A lot of you read the press. China has a pollution problem. What a surprise. And trust me, it's really, really bad. I've been in 18 out of 23 provinces. It's bad in every single province. As a matter of fact, it's awful. But the reality is that it's awful for the politicians and the government leaders too. They don't want to breathe that air. They don't want to live in that kind of environment. And they are basically spending fortunes trying to clean it up. They just can't do it in one day. Since 2009, they spent over $228 billion on trying to clean up and work on new renewable energy. In 2012, they've committed another $372 billion of investment, whereas Canada doesn't believe that they should be part of Kyoto, but that's another story. So, and what you look at today, if you take the most modern pulp mill, paper mill, cement plant, rolling steel mill, car manufacturer plant, Foxconn computer manufacturer, the most modern plants in the world are in China. 25 years ago, I used to take people to look at state-of-the-art technology. I would take them to Europe, Scandinavia, North America. Today, I take them to China because they've put the investment in. All those billions of dollars that you see has gone into the country, has gone into developing it. When you talk about competition and when you talk about why China will succeed, you know, the Americans like to talk about the fact, well, their R&D is overrated. They've got low-cost wages. Well, the low-cost wages are leaving. The R&D is going down. But the reality is, what they do have today is very efficient plants that have been built at a much lower cost. If you look at construction costs for a plant, they are much, much cheaper than they are in North America. Plus, they're also much quicker in getting it done. So your payback is so much quicker than it is in North America, and you recoup your investment much quicker. Just to give you a bit of an example, they've built the longest bridge in the world. It's 164 kilometers long. It took them 4 years to build it, and it cost $8 billion. For those of you from Montreal, we have our famous Champlain Bridge that is falling down. We're going to rebuild it now. We're going to build a new bridge. We're going to build it It's going to take 8 years. It's 14 kilometers long, not 164, and it's going to cost us $3 to $5 billion. Now, I would bet the value of my house that number one, this bridge will come in over $5 billion, and it definitely will not be built in 8 years. Just look at the track record of everything else we do in this country and specifically in this province. So these are some of the advantages that they have, that the Chinese have. When you look at other areas of technology that are developing from China, and going back to my clean energy bill, they have built the largest dams in the world. The biggest dam is Three Gorges, as everybody's heard, is Three Gorges. It produces 22.5 gigawatts of electricity. To put that in terminology of Canada, James Bay, which is our biggest hydroelectric source, produces 16.5 gigawatts. The Chinese are working on a new set of dams called the Jinsha River Dams structure. They're going to bring in 74.5 gigawatts of hydroelectric power. So they've gone again, when Three Gorges developed, there was a lot of talk about environmental damage and moving people and so on and so forth. Where in reality, what they've done is they've created the technology to be the master dam builders of the world, which, by the way, at one time was Canada. SNC, well, now it's SNC Ltd, we're known as the dam builders of the world. And they've taken the market totally away from us, just in a matter of a very few years. Solar energy. They're the world's leading producer of solar panels. They have probably 90% of the manufacturing capacity in the world for solar panels and have the market for it. And they also are the ones that have the largest installed base of solar energy in the world. Nuclear energy. Nuclear energy, they have 17 nuclear energy plants operating. They have another 15 in construction. Within a few years, they'll have 6% of all their energy needs will come from nuclear. That's all areas that they totally were not involved in a very short time, within a span of 20 years. I think the other thing that's really important is that when you look at their evaluations of manufacturing industries today, yes, they have a lot of plants that are inefficient and that, but all their new plants are state-of-the-art. Not only are they state-of-the-art, if you look at the environmental standards, they're much higher than anywhere else in the Western world. Today, you can't build a paper mill in China to meet Canadian standards because our Canadian standards are too low. Not that anybody's building paper mills in Canada anymore. That market's gone too. So if you look at how they've evolved in a very, very short time, it's really quite amazing. So if we're coming in to sell technology from Canada, we better have something unique. And we also have to have something that is produced by companies that have the staying power, as William was saying. It takes years to develop the market in Bangladesh. And very few companies, how can companies with less than 500 people, which is the main part of our business community, compete in that market? It's very, very difficult. I think the other thing, and we were talking, there's a lot of talk in the room about entrepreneurship. I think the Chinese entrepreneurs were born to be entrepreneurs. I think it's in their genes. If you go into their DNA, there's a little DNA thing that shoots out entrepreneur. You know, I think when you talk to Chinese entrepreneurs, they're much quicker in making decisions. They have much bolder vision, and they act. They don't wait and debate for years and years. And I'll give you a very quick example of that. In Canada, in Quebec, in Canada, in my business, a paper machine is rated by capacity. And an efficient paper machine has to be over 1,000 tons a day of capacity. Since 1978, we've installed one paper machine in Canada, and that was the name of Quebec. The average age of a paper machine in this country is from 1920. So we're operating with equipment that's 95 years old. It's been modified, but whatever, it's still 90 years old. In all of North America, I don't think there's been 5 machines of that size built or installed in North America. In 1995, I met a man called Ming Ching Lu. He was 35 years old, and he bought a machine from Union Camp in Savannah, Georgia, that was originally built in 1918. And I was talking to him about rebuilding the machine and selling him some peripheral equipment. And he had a company called Nine Dragons. And we were sitting in his office in a place called Dongguan. And he says, look out the window. And I looked out the window and there was nothing but banana plantations as far as the eye could see. And he said, you know, Ed, he says, I'm going to install a 1,000-ton-a-day paper machine, one a year for the next 5 years. And I looked at this 35-year-old kid. I said, of course you are. Following Frank's advice that you never say no or no. I said, yes, of course you will. And he said, so you got to give me a good price. And if you give me a good price, you'll get work on all my 5 machines. I said, okay. And we ended up, we negotiated the contract. And again, to your point about negotiating a contract in years, when people ask me, how long are you staying to negotiate the contract? I tell them until I get the contract. And the first contract with him, I signed at 4 o'clock in the morning. So, but anyways, Mr. Lu lied to me. Because Mr. Lu today has 42 world-class paper machines. From a standing start, he's become the world's largest brown paper manufacturer in the world. The Dongguan, he's got 5 plants throughout China now. But the big plant where we were in Dongguan with all those banana plantations, there's no more banana trees, and it's now the largest paper mill in the world. And this a 35-year-old kid that they did in 19 years. So, and by the way, I've sold them equipment on every one of the 42 machines. So that's where the guanxi comes in. I guess there's a big elephant in the room that people were bringing up, and that is, oh, what am I going to do with copyright? And these guys are all cheaters and all stealing your technology and all this kind of talk. And my answer to you is, don't worry about it. It's not relevant to what you want to do. And I'll use the case of Rolex. You can go into any city in Beijing and buy yourself a $50 Rolex on the street. no problem, it looks the same. The fact of the matter is, when a guy buys a $50 Rolex, he's not a Rolex customer. He doesn't sit there and say, oh gee, $50 was $30,000. Which one will I make the decision on? The reality is, the guy who's going to buy the real Rolex will buy the real Rolex. He's not going to buy the $50 fake. That's not your customer. You can buy my equipment, every piece of my equipment in China, you can buy from a local supplier. My price is 3 times more than the local manufacturer. The guy who buys the copy is never going to be my customer, nor do I want to be his supplier. I don't talk to them, I don't make sales calls to them, I do nothing with them. If they call me and ask me, oh, now we're going to change strategy, we're going to go from buying the local cheap stuff to mine, I said, that's fine, but you're going to pay me to bid the project to you, because I know you're not going to buy my equipment. And that's the reality, don't worry about it. I'll give you a second example. We spent about $3 million developing a product that takes sand out of waste paper. This is a problem in a business. And we've done it was developed by our American parent. They went out, they patented all the technology, they trademarked all the technology. They were solid. So we brought it to China. We developed the brochures, the marketing plan as to how we were going to get into the market, and about what we decided to do because it was new technology. We picked our core customers. We sent out our salespeople to make presentations to all of them. They made all the presentations, and everything's going along fine. 8 weeks later, they have a magazine for the pulp and paper industry in China. I opened the magazine, and there on page 3 is my product. Not only is it the product, it's got all the pictures from my brochure, very nicely copied. It's got the same name. And here you are. How efficient are they? It took them 8 weeks to get the literature out and get a copy made of our product. Now the reality of it is that when we launched this product, we launched it in China, Europe, and America at the same time. After 3 months of the launch, we sold 20 units in Europe and North America. In China, I sold 3,000. So it doesn't matter, the market's so big and so relative. The guy who's making the fakes, it doesn't affect what I'm doing. The guy who's buying the fake, they end up calling us complaining, how come your product doesn't work? So, well, next time you buy from us, we'll tell you why it doesn't work. So really, the copyright issue, it's not a serious thing. You live with it, they're going to copy you, that's for sure. But it doesn't affect what you want to do. Andritz has gone from a standing start to being our biggest manufacturing, Andrtiz China, our biggest manufacturing company by man hours, and our most profitable company in the world in all our operations, just because of the size of the market, the quality of the people, and it's our newest facility, so it's our most efficient facility. I think somebody was saying here about schools and about Chinese students. Well, I don't know about the finance and the marketing and that, but certainly from a technical point, the Chinese engineers that we hire, and we hire hundreds of them, are very good coming out of schools. And we don't want students that are, we want them basically trained, and then we'll train them the way we want them. And that goes for the kids from McGill, MIT, or wherever. So to China, the schools for what we want are just fine for us. The last thing, I'm just going to make a quick political comment. I'm really happy with the government of China, and I'm really happy with Chinese politicians. And the difference, and the reason why I say that, is every Chinese politician, whether it's the provincial, federal, municipal level, they have a certain number of years in power, and all of them try to make it better. Yes, there's corruption, yes, there's all that, but each one leaves his post with it a bit better, which is a lot more than you can say about Western politicians. So with that, I'll leave you with a Chinese saying that says, may you all live a very interesting life. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Siedlak, for such an amazing speech. We're going to have a short question and answer period, and we have two delegates. Up at the mic, please. Don't be shy. All right. Otherwise, we were short on time. Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
Hello, Mr. Siedlak.
Hi.
My name is Richard. I'd like to discuss with you about technology in general.
Yes.
And because I think technology is very important in our days, because basically it changes our lives. And my statement, I don't know if you would agree, is that technology would make bigger changes in the life of people with disabilities than normal people.
I think the question is technology to aid disability people?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have no comment on that. I know nothing about that industry. And,
I'm sorry, but the point that I want to elaborate is that basically technology makes things more accessible, more faster.
Of course
right?
they do.
And on the point where I will try to make about people with disabilities, if one day someone came with a small device that allows a blind people to see things, that would be a bigger change.
Absolutely, but that's not a field that I'm in at all.
Okay.
Give me something big, something that weighs 10 tons, and then I'll talk to you.
Okay, thanks.
Great statement. Thank you.
Hi, you mentioned all the technological advancement in China in recent years. I'm from China. I'm also very proud of all this advancement. However, in my opinion, I feel like for any country, if they can pull all the capital to one party and pull all the authority, the political power to one party, they can do a lot of things. They can make decisions really fast, and basically what I'm trying to say is any country can build a railway like that if they have all the resources. But I feel the cost is really high. It might not affect foreigners, so like investors, but it really affects the Chinese people. The cost is really high. Like it passes down to taxpayer money, and also also very high debt for the banks.
Well, that's an opinion. The reality is, if you look at recently, there was a poll conducted by Pew Research about how people were satisfied with their governments. The Chinese came back as 85% very satisfactory. The Americans came out at 31%. So when you look at whether you have one party or whether you look at where the money's going in social benefits and social welfare, there's improvements. Of course, it's not there yet, and there are problems in China. But I think the party as a whole and the government as a whole is trying to make things better. So they don't please everybody, but they certainly look to be that they're pleasing a good number of them.
Thank you. Thank you very much. A very wise man with a world of knowledge. Please, a round of applause for Mr. Andritz.